Okay guys, I just got done reading the first part of chapter 6. I put that video up on the other channel. But as I got towards the end of the reading, the last couple pages I'm going to reread here, because this is actually tying everything in that we've gone over. It's tying everything in together, and I sort of had like this epiphany, this real just clearing of my mind to be able to see it, what I'm picturing here. So I'll start reading. So now let's address the elephant in the room. And now what he's talking about is, prior to this, in the beginning of this chapter, he's giving an example of hypnosis, a case study of hypnosis. And then right before where I'm reading now, he had gone through some of the case studies of the placebo effect that had happened prior in the prior chapters that I read. So now he says, now let's address the elephant in the room. No real physical, chemical, or therapeutic mechanisms made these changes happen. None of these people had actual surgery, took active medication, or received any real treatment to create these significant alterations in health. The power of their minds so influenced their body's physiology that they became healed. It's safe to say that their real transformation happened independent of their conscious minds. The conscious mind is what's holding us back. The conscious mind is what keeps us in this box, because this box is familiar. And the reason we got put in this box is through the survival program. This is the survival program box. And our conscious mind is only operating like 5%, maybe 10%. I bet you for most of us who are on autopilot, doing our regular routine every day, your conscious mind's only operating 5% of the day. You're only consciously making decisions. When you think you're making decisions like, oh, I'll go do this, so your friend comes up and say, hey, let's go do this, or makes a stupid joke about some stupid celebrity, and you laugh, that's all subconscious programming. That's all programming. That's not conscious decision making on what you're thinking about, because we wouldn't spend so much time in that kind of jest. That all comes from the box, okay? Their conscious minds may have initiated the course of action, but the real work happens subconsciously, with the subjects remaining totally unaware of how it happened. So when the placebo effect in hypnosis takes place, the conscious mind you have no idea what happened, how it happened. It just happens. It's the subconscious that's operating it. Our programming is in the subconscious, which is where our survival programming is located, in the subconscious. The same is true of Ivan Santiago. This is the guy that in the hypnosis case study that he mentions in the first part of this chapter. The power of his mind under hypnosis so influenced his physiology that even when he was sitting in a freezing ice cube bath, he didn't so much as flinch. It was the power of his subconscious mind altered by a mere suggestion. However, not his conscious mind that was responsible for this feat. Again, it's not our conscious mind. When we do these healings, when we take a pill and it works, when we auto-suggest, when we let's say even toxic positivity or these healing modalities, it comes from a suggestion that this is going to work. Yes, biologically, physiologically, these things work, but it's your power in the suggestion and belief in the power of the modality that actually it makes that's the magic behind it all. So basically, you're unlocking a mechanism that has always been there. It's not that mechanism is being placed in you. That mechanism has always been there. It's just that mechanism is outside of this box. So this box is where we reside with our programs. So when you go into a modality or whatever else it might be and making life-changing habits and decisions, that is getting outside of this box, okay? If he hadn't accepted the suggestion, the outcome would have been very different. In addition, he did what he did without thinking about how he was able to do it, and that's how it works from the subconscious, the autonomic nervous system. In fact, in his mind, he wasn't sitting in an ice bath. He was sitting in a perfectly pleasant tub of warm water, which is what the hypnotist had told him he'd be doing. So just as with hypnosis, the placebo effect is created by a person's consciousness somehow interacting with the autonomic nervous system. See, he says somehow interacting with the autonomic nervous system. The subconscious is tied into the autonomic nervous system. It's one and the same. Quite simply, the conscious mind merges with the subconscious mind. Once the placebo patients accept the thought as a reality and then believe and trust in the end result emotionally, the next thing that happens is that they will get well. And the only reason this doesn't happen all the time, again, because our box doesn't allow for those things. Our box, inside this box where we live, the only thing that works to heal us in that box is hospitals, is doctors, is pills. So just thinking outside the box and going in outside of traditional medicine and getting a yoga teacher or doing breathing techniques or ice therapy, cold therapy, or any of these other modalities is thinking outside the box. Now it's still just barely outside the box, and what they're doing is it's just opening that box just so they don't go, oh, here, you can have this. You can have this little breadcrumb, right? When really, this is us. We were born with our mind being completely open. Completely open. That is our innate, unlimited potential, our natural state of being is this. But because our parents never facilitated the safe space for us and put us in survival programming and abusively taught us how to eat, sleep, shit, talk, comply, pass tests, fit into these social standards and these cultural norms, they took us from this and put us in this. And this is where we're at. So this is where we're operating from. So a cascade of physiological events automatically carries out the whole biological change without their conscious minds being involved. Your conscious mind can't be involved. In order to make this change, guys, in order to make this healing, the conscious mind, you have to have that trust inside yourself. Because if you're trying to make these changes and thinking that you're going to heal and you're going to make, change your life and reclaim your birthright and all these innate things that we were born with, you're not going to do it inside the box because the box doesn't allow it. And this is where your consciousness exists. You think you're conscious, but again, you're conscious only about 5% of the day. Otherwise, you're running on automatic subconscious programming that was put in you from birth by the same people who want to control. First, by your parents, who were agents of the state. And where did they get their program from? They got it from their parents, who act as agents of the state. And then where do you go at 5 years old? You go into these state-funded indoctrination centers, mandatory, compulsory education centers, and you get tested daily for compliance. It's very simple. And they put you in this box, and it's a programming box. They're able to enter their operating system where these functions already happen routinely, and when they do, it's as if they planted a seed in fertile ground. So through the hypnosis and the placebo effect, they're able to enter the operating system, the subconscious, where these functions already happen routinely. All of this happens. Our health, everything is there for us. It's just waiting. It's lying dormant. And again, this goes back to our DNA. Us only using 1.5% of our DNA, and the other 98.5% are so-called experts that live inside this box tell us, oh, that's just junk DNA. This is all tied in together. It's extremely simple. The system automatically takes over for them. In fact, it's not anyone's job to do anything. It just happens. And that's where the biggest part of your healing comes from, is just allowing things to happen. You don't have to go and spend $600 for a juicer. You don't have to go and pay hundreds of dollars a month for a yoga teacher. You don't have to join a group that's teaching you how to fucking breathe through your nose. It's all bullshit. These are things that they're like diapers. They're like training wheels. They're training wheels to like get you to start believing and trusting in yourself and your innate capabilities. That's all they are. The real power lies in you just trusting yourself and giving yourself over to your natural processes, your subconscious. But we can't do it, again, because what lies outside this box? Why can't we get outside this box? What lies outside this box is fear, lack, desire, worry. It's the unknown, which we're scared to death of. reminders of the past, the abuse, the trauma, the neglect when we were born. Because when we get outside this box, it takes us back to when we were born and we become vulnerable again. Here, we got all our barriers, our walls up and everything. When we get outside this box, it's reminders of the past immediately, the abuse, the trauma, neglect that our parents did to us. Instead of accepting us, instead of it facilitating a safe space for us, and in order for us to foster this innate, unlimited potential of our mind and our natural state of being, they stuck us in these, they abusively programmed us. Guys, this is no fucking joke. Even you can say your parents were great, no, they were nice people and they sacrificed for you, whatever. That's egotistical bullshit. That's martyrdom. Your parents are martyrs. They're saying, oh, look at me, look at me. That's all egotistical virtue signaling. Because what they did ultimately, no matter how great your parents were, if they fucking name, numbered, and cataloged you at birth, allowed the state to put mandatory injections into you, and then signed you up and put you into these state indoctrination centers and made sure you tested for 12 years all the way through them, they did this to you. They put you in this box. So none of the subject could consciously spike dopamine levels by 200% and control involuntary tremors with the mind, manufacture new neurotransmitters to combat depression, signal stem cells to morph into white blood cells to mount an immune response, or restore knee cartilage in order to reduce pain. Just as Santiago, the guy that they hypnotized, couldn't have consciously avoided flinching when he lowered his body into that tub. Anyone trying to accomplish any of these feats would certainly be unsuccessful. It has to come from a complete trust and knowing, a 100% knowing, no doubts, no uncertainties. This is my birthright. This is me. This is who I am. I am completely capable of this. It is not going to surprise me when I do it because I already know I can. These people would have to get help from a mind that already knows how to initiate all these processes. Exactly. This isn't some woo-woo, far-out, new age fucking Hindu bullshit. This is our innate... Look, these people would have to get help from a mind that already knows subconsciously how to initiate all of these processes of the healing that I just mentioned, that these people experienced. It comes from a knowing that's already there. They're just accessing it through the placebo effect, through the suggestion, through the hypnosis. To succeed, they'd have to activate the autonomic nervous system, okay? Because it's automatic, guys. It's automatic. We are the ones holding our own selves back from our power, from our unlimited power and potential. We are the only ones because we're stuck in the box. We can blame it on our parents, we can blame it on our teachers, we can blame it on the government, we can blame it on the Matrix, we can blame it on demons, we can blame it on Satan, we can blame it on God, we can blame it on everything. But it doesn't matter because ultimately we're the only ones inside of our box. We're the only ones that can tear down the walls to our box. It's up to us. We got to get rid of that fear, lack, desire, worry, and jump into the abyss. This is all about, I told you in my other video, when I jumped into the abyss, it was the most comfortable, unbelievable experience I've ever experienced. I never wanted to come out of it because I've realized that the light was shining. When I was in the light, it was exposing so much superfluous information to me that I'm on my path, right, going straight, all of these rabbit holes everywhere. And it was just distracting. When I jumped into the abyss, it was a single focus. I had to get rid of my eyes. I had to quit trusting my physical senses, and I had to trust my instinct, my intuition, and trust my inner self. And that is where my peace started coming from. That is what my peace has been building since then. The peace that passes all understanding. Acceptance, belief, and surrender. I have mentioned the word suggestibility throughout this book as if being suggestible were something that all of us could simply do voluntarily on command. As you read in the story at the beginning of the chapter, it turns out that it's not that easy. It's extremely difficult because of our programming. We can't give up our food. Something as simple as eating correctly, we can't even do that because we're so programmed to poison ourselves, even knowingly. Even when we know we're poisoning ourselves, we're like, yeah, well, we're going to do it. I mean, it's crazy. So this is the hardest thing you will ever do in your life. It's no joke. It takes a complete surrender and a killing of the ego and a complete surrender to spirit, your soul, and your natural state of being. Which your natural state of being is not like, Your natural fucking state of being is not, oh, well, I like to watch a movie every night, and I like chocolate ice cream, and I like to go for walks, and I like the color blue, and I like guys with long hair. No, that is not that is your ego. All of these things are ego, guys. In order to even comprehend what our natural state of being is and how our natural way of living is, it doesn't include anything. Look around you physically right now, it includes none of it. Everything you see around you is a complete 100% construct. It's all to keep you in the box. So some of us are more suggestible than others, and even those who are more suggestible respond to certain suggestions better than other suggestions. And this is what I'm trying to say about that. The reason some of us are more suggestible is because, okay, and I'm going to give me as an example. My mom beat the fuck out of me. I was enslaved and imprisoned inside of a house on a mountain with nobody around back in the 80s, right? In 90s. Nobody around. There were no cell phones. There was no communication outside the house. I was stuck. She could do whatever she wanted with me. She did every form of abuse possible to try to get me to comply, to get me to break, to get me to say that black was white and white was black, to get me to say what she wanted me to say. But it wasn't that I was an evil little child and I'm like, hee, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to drive you fucking crazy. I'm the devil. It wasn't that I was coming from that. It was, see, and that's the thing. People want to blame it on, you gotta train your child up in the way they should be, and they'll never go wrong. No, it's not that. It was that I innately knew what she was saying was wrong, and instead of her being humble, because she was so egoic, there was no breaking, there was no movement. I was a little kid. She was going to win, period. Even after I ran out of the way at 12 and 14, she didn't care. I came back home, she fucking cracked down even harder because she was going to win. It was her way or the highway. But I could not, there was nothing in me that was going to concede. Nothing in me that was going to concede and go follow along with her bullshit and her lies and her fucking craziness. It wasn't going to happen. So now that goes back to this. What am I trying to say by that? So that's the reason why some people are more suggestible than others. It's just like I have a problem in my head. Like there's like my brother had whatever it is in your mind that goes, survival, yes, mommy, okay, mommy, I'll do whatever. Yes, mommy, it's black. And then he walks away, I think it's white. And then after years, he's like, yeah, it's black because mommy said so. And that's the only thing I know. I couldn't do that. So I have some problem mechanism in my brain. That's where they come up with neurodivergent and all these fucking mental illnesses, mental disorders. It's only disorder because we refuse to follow fucking wrong orders. That's the only reason why. So there's a problem with us in our brain, those of us who are like that. And it's not a problem. It's just we don't have that mechanism that we're like, well, you can fucking kill me because I'm not going to live. I'm only going to concede so much. I'm not going to fucking go that far. So that's why some people are not able to be hypnotically suggested, or the placebo effect doesn't work on them, or they are unable to, when they try to do this healing, it's just like impossible to them because their walls are built so thick, so high, so strong, and they have cannons on top, and they have infantry, overwatching 24/7, that nothing's ever going to allow anything in or out of this motherfucker. So when you tell them that doctors are woo-woo and their government's going to kill them and all this other shit, they're firing up. They got their cannons loaded. They got their sentries on, getting ready to shoot your ass because they don't want to hear it. Because if they were to admit that, they'd have to start tearing down their walls because all that information lies outside the fucking box. Okay? So I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but again, I just got this epiphany on putting all this together this morning. So I'm just doing this as I go along. For example, some of the hypnotism test subjects had no problem stripping to their underwear in public when given that post-hypnotic suggestion. Yet they were unable to subconsciously accept the idea that a tub of frigid ice water was really a warm jacuzzi. Again, like, we can only give up so much. It's like, okay, that's why people say like these things are bullshit. Like, oh, hypnotism's bullshit. They're just playing along. No, it's that people are suggestible, their balls are able to break down enough to strip down to their underwear when hypnotically suggested in front of people and strangers. But then when they're told, hypnotically suggested, okay, you're going to step into this tub of cold, frigid water and it's going to feel like a warm bathtub, they start to get in, and then within 10 seconds, it's like the hypnotic suggestion's gone because they're right back here. Because what? Because they're hurt again. It takes them back to their past, to their abuse, to their trauma, to their neglect, to the fear, lack, desire, worry. They're uncomfortable. That's a huge one, being uncomfortable. That box is so fucking comfortable. No matter the chaos going on inside that motherfucker, that goddamn thing's so comfortable because it's the known. Everything out here is the unknown. That's why it doesn't matter. You could have roses and fucking sunshine and fucking, unicorns out here, and this be total utter war going on here, and people stay right in this motherfucker because that's all they've ever known. And everything out here is a fairy tale because it's never, everything out of here has never been programmed into this box. So in order to get out of this box, you have to fucking free your mind. Let's see where we are. This was true even though post-hypnotic suggestions are generally more difficult to make stick compared to suggestions that alter someone's state temporarily during the hypnotic trance itself. And like hypnosis, the placebo response also doesn't just work for everyone. The placebo patients you've read about who were able to make positive changes last for years respond much like hypnotherapy subjects who've been given post-hypnotic suggestions. For some, such suggestions work beautifully. For others, not much happens, again, because they got a grip. They got a grip on their fucking life. These are the same motherfuckers who are saying they're so sick and tired and bitch and complain and whine and moan how bad their life is. Those are the motherfuckers that grip so hard to this life. The people who bitch, moan, complain, and fucking just wallow in their sorrow hold on and grasp onto this life so hard. And the ones who need the healing the worst are the ones who are fucking dug into their trench of their box that won't come out of it. Because that they're holding on. That's why, like they say, you have to hit rock bottom in order to heal. Like an addict has to hit rock bottom before they can get clean, right? Because you are literally, right before you get clean, you are hitting that addiction as hard as possible to try to pull everything you can because it's not working for you anymore. Because your body's become used to it. It's no longer numbing the pain. It's no longer distracting you from the things that you've been running from your whole life. Your legs get tired and then you got to and then it catches up to you and then you're stuck. And then so what do you do? Instead of fucking going, okay, turn around, let's face this shit and start taking care of this, checking it off one by one and fucking dotting your I's, crossing your T's. What do? You start digging your trench. Well, I'll get away, I'll go down. If I can't go that way or that way, I'm too tired, I'm going down. And that's what people do. They dig down into their box even further. For instance, when they're sick or suffering from a disease, many people simply can't accept the idea that even a drug, procedure, treatment, or injection can help them, let alone that a placebo might work. Why not? It takes thinking greater than how they feel. And they're stuck in their feelings. In turn, allowing those new thoughts to drive new feelings, which then reinforce those new thoughts. So they're stuck in the circle. Okay? Until it becomes a new state of being. But if familiar feelings have become the means of familiar thinking, and the person can't transcend that habituation, he or she is in the same past state of mind and body, and everything stays the same. Comfortable, in the box. However, if those same people who can't accept that a drug or procedure could make them well could reach a new level of acceptance and belief, and then surrender to that end without constantly fretting, worrying, and analyzing, then they could reap greater rewards from the process. That's what suggestibility is. Making a thought into a virtual experience and having our bodies consequentially respond in a new manner. Thinking outside of the box. And what I'm telling you with the healing, we need to get rid of that goddamn box. The box has got to fucking go. All of this physical bullshit around you, you got to detach from. And that's how we reclaim this mind, this free mind. That's how we free our fucking minds. We can't have any kind of attachment to this horse shit. Suggestibility combines three elements: acceptance, belief, and surrender. The more we accept, believe, and surrender to whatever we're doing to change our internal state, the better the results we can create. It's very simple. That's why all your healing modalities work, because you give over to them. What happens to these addicts when they hit rock bottom? What happens to them? They usually end up in AA or some kind of fucking program. And who comes along most of the time? Jesus. Jesus comes along. And then they get their saving grace and Jesus appears to them and they fucking get saved and their life turns around. And then guess what? Jesus leaves. Guess what happens to these cocksuckers after that? Jesus steps out of the fucking picture and they're left alone again. But now they've already committed and told everybody, oh, well, Jesus saved me. Jesus did all this. And now a year later, 2 years later, they're struggling. All the problems are still sitting there with them that have always been there, that supposedly Jesus took on the cross for them, that they aren't facing because Jesus is taking care of it for them. And they are dealing with their addiction and dealing with their addiction every fucking day. That's why people in AA have to have their support group and have to go to these fucking meetings. And every day, and they got to call their sponsor whenever, oh God, I get a feeling, I'm going to drink. I've been sober for 2.5 years, cold turkey, after over 25 years of fucking drinking. And I couldn't touch a bottle if I wanted to right now. Because I have fucking made those changes. I've faced my shit. I realized where my habits and addictions came from. And I broke it. So I'm a new man. I'm not that old man anymore. You got to face the reality. You got to face your shit. You got to turn around, quit running, and face your shit and deal with your problems and check each one off. Every thought that comes through your mind, you can't go, ooh, I don't want to hide from that one. No, because when you hide from that shit, it just festers. It grows. It's like bacteria. It's like goddamn cancer. It's going to get worse the longer it sits. Let's see. We're almost done here. So suggestibility comes from 3 elements: acceptance, belief, and surrender. The more we accept, believe, and surrender to whatever we're doing to change our internal state, the better the results we can create. Similarly, when Santiago was under hypnosis and his subconscious mind was in control, he could totally accept what Silver told him about the bad guy who needed to be eliminated. They got this guy to kill somebody. He could believe that Silver was telling the truth, and he could surrender to carrying out the detailed instructions Silver gave him without ever analyzing or thinking critically about what he was about to do. There was no hand-wringing and asking for proof. There was no second-guessing. He just did it. And that's how we have to heal. We can't sit there and go, oh, okay, I guess what Richard's saying's right. I guess I'll just stop watching all my entertainment and start focusing on myself and see how that works for a little while. I guess I'll stop eating poisons and purposefully injecting poisons into my mouth every fucking day and see if I start feeling better. No, you can't do that. You have to completely let go. You got to be like, God damn. You have to understand, oh, this shit's chemically processed fucking bullshit that the fucking people who put me in this goddamn box have fucking sold me as food, and that's how they keep me fucking limited. Oh, I'm going to quit doing that. I'm going to quit intentionally poisoning myself. That's how you go into this. You got to fucking take these things and understand why you're doing them. When you detach, oh, I'm going to quit watching this stupid entertainment because, yeah, I see they're constantly mocking my abuse, my trauma. They're constantly mocking my poorness, my fucking situation, my mental box. They're mocking everything about me in this fucking shit. Oh, I'm going to quit turning into these politics. These are cocksuckers taking 50% of my money. They're $1 trillion in debt, and they're fucking sitting here telling me how to live my life. What the fuck? So it takes that radical, you got to get out of the fucking box. So we'll go over this real quick and then I'm done. We were born innately unlimited potential with our mind completely open, and that's our natural state of being. Our parents never facilitated a safe space. They would have facilitated a safe space. We'd never be in the mess we were in. They would have fostered that mind into this physical body, and God only knows. We have no idea what that kind of healing or that kind of upbringing looks like. No clue. No clue. So instead, we were put into a survival program box. Our minds were enslaved. We are stuck in those through fear, lack, desire, worry, in the fear of the unknown, because every time we try to step out of that box, it's reminded us of the past. which is our abuse, trauma, and neglect, which stems back to our parents. Again, our parents acting as agents of the state. They didn't know, guys. They didn't know. They knew something was wrong, but they weren't courageous. They were stuck. They were addicts. They were addicted to their food. They were addicted to their entertainment. They were addicted to their vices. They were addicted to their ego. They were addicted to their goddamn box. So in order to heal, we got to break down this fucking box and get back up to here and reclaim our birthright. This is our birthright. Our innate, unlimited potential is our birthright. That's what we were born with. It got stolen from us and shattered. And remember, the word heal means to make whole. Through this healing, we're making ourselves whole again. We're reclaiming our wholeness because we were whole. We were born whole. We were shattered. What it happens when you go through survival, when you go into survival, what happens is your mind shatters. Because every process in your body physiologically starts working in its own compartment and doing its own thing instead of working together as a unit. So anyway, so much more. But again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm just now breaking through on all this and being able to articulate it. So I'm looking forward to the next few videos. Most definitely, I'll start breaking this down more. And yeah, remember, take care of yourself because nobody else will.